Well, it seems like we're finally here. And I don't know if I'm ready. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I'm going through changes, Grossi, and today I wanted to make a little bit of a companion video to the short that I put out around 1 a.m. last night, as it was reported by Trey Wingo that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets had spoke on Monday, and a lot of people immediately rushed to that going like, well, can we trust Trey Wingo? Though Trey was correct about Randall Cobb a couple years back, there's still like that hesitance of like, I don't know if, he's really the right source for this. But Ian Rappaport has confirmed it. It was also confirmed by The Athletic as well. And now it seems like Aaron Rodgers is continuing talks with the New York Jets as of today. So what does this all mean? Well, I thought that it meant that the Packers were basically telling Aaron Rodgers, hey, talk to the Jets. Do you like them? Do you want them to be your new family that you're going to go live with? But you have Ian Rappaport, who's coming out and saying that it's still all in the hands of Aaron Rodgers and that they're just doing their due diligence. He's talking to the Jets. He's seeing if he likes it there and maybe wants to go there, which, to be honest, compared to all this reporting coming out, just doesn't make a lot of sense. Because why would the Packers literally say, yeah, go talk to the Jets. You take your time, Aaron. You go see if you like them there. Nathaniel Hackett's there. Let's go see if you like Robert Saleh. Like, let's go have that full-blown conversation, and then we'll wait for you. You come back, and if you want to come back to us, that's fine. It's basically like you're in a relationship, and one partner's just like, hey, do you mind if I just like go out on this Tinder date? I don't know if it's gonna lead anywhere, and if it does, then I'm gonna leave you for them. But if it doesn't, yeah, I'll wind up coming back. So I just don't know where we are right this second, because there's so many conflicting reports. As of last night, it seemed like it was going in one direction, and then you have Ian Rappaport coming out today saying it's his understanding that it's still all up to Aaron Rodgers, which, quite frankly, I can understand being lenient, but Packers, you gotta make a decision at some point. And right now, their decision, if that story is true, is to let Aaron Rodgers just do whatever he wants. And of course, after recording this, there is even more breaking news. Apparently, Jets team officials are going to be traveling to meet with Aaron Rodgers today. Rodgers will get a chance to talk with them, to get to know them a little bit more, and vice versa. And this just seems to indicate yet another step closer to Aaron Rodgers leaving the Packers. I have said for weeks and months at this point that, for me, I'm ready to accept either outcome. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, great. If he stays, great. Because I just wanted to know where the Packers were at. Because if Aaron Rodgers was coming back, that means they're trying at least one more year to try and make it to the Super Bowl and try and be Super Bowl champions. And what would that look like? The dynamic of the team, what personnel would they bring in, etc. And if not, and we were seeing the passing of the torch to Jordan Love, I know we are not going to be competing for a Super Bowl this year. And that's not a reflection on Jordan Love's ability. That's more of like, hey, we need to rebuild at this point, or reload, however you want to put it. And I just wanted to get some confirmation at what kind of team I was going to be looking at this year. And why this is such a big deal is because there has been no tampering suit that has been filed as of right now. So that means that the Green Bay Packers have given Aaron Rodgers permission to talk to the Jets. And let's be honest, folks, why would they do that? It's because they're looking to trade him. And that this wouldn't even be a conversation. They wouldn't even let him talk to the Jets if the Packers hadn't already been talking to the Jets previously, which means that there's probably been some compensation that has been talked about. And we don't know if the Packers have given Rodgers permission to talk to any other team. I know you have guys like Kurt Benkert's out there saying like maybe he'll go to the Dolphins. The Raiders, they were favorites, though the Raiders seem that they don't want Aaron Rodgers. And right now, all the news is about the New York Jets. And we've already talked about this in previous videos. It makes sense for the Jets. They're a young team. They have a great defense. On top of that, they just need a quarterback, and the Green Bay Packers just happen to have one. On top of that, Nathaniel Hackett getting hired by the Jets, so there's going to be a reunion there. Aaron Rodgers has always spoken very highly of Nathaniel Hackett, so it makes sense for a lot of reasons. And this entire time, we've just been waiting. What do the Packers want to do? Last week, I put out a video about Goody speaking at the Combine and how I thought his tone had shifted, because it went from back in January saying we want all these guys back to it has to be the right fit regarding Aaron Rodgers. And Goody has said a couple of comments throughout these past few months that have indicated that maybe the Packers are not all in on Aaron Rodgers right now. And this basically confirms it. And so this seems to be the first step of the Packers potentially parting ways with Aaron Rodgers. And now there are so many things that we don't know. There are so many things that we are going to have to eventually talk about. And we talked about why this could make sense for the Jets and why it could make sense for the Packers, but who knows what compensation would look like. Right now, the Jets have the 13th overall pick in this year's draft. How much compensation could the Packers actually get for Aaron Rodgers? Remember, he has a pretty damn big contract, about $59 million. The Packers are going to get a $40 million cap hit regardless of what happens with Rodgers, whether they keep him, whether he retires, or whether he gets traded, because again, that is just old money that has gotten restructured over the years. So the Packers are going to have a $40 million cap hit regardless. However, if the Packers want to potentially increase the trade compensation and get more for Aaron Rodgers, they may be willing to take on more of his contract in exchange for some draft picks. And that would kind of inform everyone saying, hey, listen, we're not going to be the most competitive this year, but let's see what we got in Jordan Love. And he will still have weapons. He'll have Aaron Jones. He'll have David Bakhtiari to protect him. He's still going to have A.J. Dillon, and of course the sophomore year of guys like Toure, Dobbs, and of course Christian Watson. They still can be a good team, but it will allow Jordan Love to kind of have that flexibility of, all right, there aren't the highest of stakes right now, because I truly imagine that the Packers are going to give Jordan Love a 2-year window. If they pick up his 5th-year option, which they do need to make a decision on, then they'll have 2 straight years of Jordan Love, and then they can decide, yes, he's the guy, or no. It's not the most amount of time, but considering Jordan Love has been sitting for 3 years now, it is now or never. So Aaron Rodgers talking to the Jets is an enormous deal, because conversations have already been had between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers that we are not privy to. But the fact that he is now speaking to other teams means the Packers are okay with it, and they seem to want to move on from Aaron Rodgers, which brings up a lot of mixed emotions, because as I've said, I completely understand. Like, I think it is time to move on from Aaron Rodgers, just because what they have with Jordan Love, and that's such an unknown. The Packers, they wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too. And unfortunately, they kind of backed themselves into a corner, because they drafted Jordan Love and then Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs. And unfortunately, after a down season last year, because of a variety of reasons, we're now sitting here going, what next? I don't think the roster as it's sitting right now is going to contend for a Super Bowl, even if they bring back Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they would have the highest chances with 12 behind center. But I still think that there needs to be so many more additions and potentially subtractions, looking at you, Joe Barry, for them to potentially make a run at it. So this just seems like the culmination of a multi-year story. And for me, even if I can justify it and logistically and logically go, yeah, it's time to move on, I'm a fan. Like, I love Aaron Rodgers as a player. Like, he's the guy that I've grown up with in my teenage years. It was far from my childhood, and it was Aaron Rodgers. And good God, how freaking blessed and how grateful can I possibly be that I've really only seen 2 starting QBs besides guys like Brett Huntley or Seneca Wallace when Rodgers or Favre got hurt. But it's crazy that we have had over 30 years of MVP Hall of Fame-like play. And Jordan Love, who knows? Maybe he'll get there. Maybe he won't. That's not really important right this second. It's important to me is like I'm kind of just taking all of this in, and it's going to be weird if Aaron Rodgers does wind up playing for another team or just not playing for the Green Bay Packers anymore. But that's a new reality that seems more and more likely. And of course, you know, as things continue to break and as things progress, we'll be here. But looks like Aaron Rodgers, the first step to him out the door has already begun. So we'll see. Let me know what you think. Before we get out of here, I want to do a big shout and thank you to some brand new patrons and YouTube members. First, on the Patreon side of things, we have Andrea Toledo. And over on the YouTube side of things, we have Ethan Leatherberry and Emmanuel. A big shout out and thank you to you all. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. It's going to be a crazy week, folks, so buckle up. Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or Tom Grossi Comedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.